It was only a very short time after the assassination of Ishbosheth that all the tribes of Israel were finally prepared to admit that the Lord had said to David, "Thou shalt feed my people Israel, and thou shalt be a captain over Israel." Chapter 5 verse 2. Now David's first stern test came from the Philistines, and we're going to read about that from 2 Samuel chapter 5 and verses 17 to 21. But when the Philistines heard that they had anointed David king over Israel, all the Philistines came up to seek David, and David heard of it and went down to the hold. The Philistines also came and spread themselves in the valley of Rephaim. And David inquired of the Lord, saying, "Shall I go up to the Philistines? Wilt thou deliver them into mine hand?" And the Lord said unto David, "Go up, for I will doubtless deliver the Philistines into thine hand." And David came to Baal Perazim, and David smote them there, and said, "The Lord hath broken forth upon mine enemies before me as the breach of waters." Therefore he called the name of that place Baal Perazim. And there they left their images, and David and his men burned them. We read about the previous encounter between Israel and the Philistines at the end of 1 Samuel. It was at that battle when Israel, led by King Saul, had suffered a humiliating defeat. The Philistines fought against Israel, and the men of Israel fled from before the Philistines and fell down slain in Mount Gilboa. 1 Samuel chapter 31 verse 1. Now there's probably no doubt that the Philistines wanted to inflict a similar defeat upon the newly anointed King David. And so the Philistines also came and spread themselves in the valley of Rephaim, as we read in verse 18, the valley of the giants. It was immediately to the west of his newly secured capital city of Jerusalem. So what was David to do in the face of this attack? It is right at this point of crisis that we read the phrase that was so characteristic of David's life. David inquired of the Lord, saying, "Shall I go up to the Philistines?" Verse 19. Hundreds of years later, when the Assyrian king Sennacherib came against Jerusalem, David's descendant, King Hezekiah, did a similar thing. Hezekiah went up into the house of the Lord and spread it before the Lord. 2 Kings chapter 19 and verse 14. It seems like they both understood the importance of the very thing that Paul wrote to Timothy about. "I exhort, therefore, that first of all, supplications, prayers, intercessions, and giving of thanks be made for all men." 1 Timothy chapter 2 verse 1. It was their first resort. And of course the Lord heard David's prayer. Not only did he rout the Philistine army with God's help, but the Philistines, in their haste to escape, abandoned everything that might delay their flight. There they left their images, and David and his men burned them. Verse 21. To me, this is a very vivid demonstration of the truth of the words that the Apostle John wrote. "Greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world." 1 John chapter 4 and verse 4. The Philistines had to abandon their idols in their crisis. They were incapable of saving them or coming to their aid. Not so the Lord. "Before they call, will I answer, and while they are yet speaking, I will hear." Isaiah chapter 65 verse 24. Our God is able. It reminds me of the hymn that says, "Are we weak and heavy laden, cumbered with a load of care? Blessed Saviour, still our refuge, take it to the Lord in prayer. Do thy friends despise, forsake thee? Take it to the Lord in prayer. In his arms he'll take and shield thee. Thou wilt find a refuge there." May the Lord bless his word to us all.